about that wide, it was about that thick, it was laying right here. And she told me, now when you walk into one of those rooms, they're much larger than this room, and it's very dark in there. There's just the 7 candles that are burning, and it's not enough light, so it takes a little while to adjust your eyes to that light. And she brought me up here and she said for me to lay just my wrist and my hand on that table, and I did. And I'm standing just about like this. Now, I couldn't see anything much yet. The Mother Superior stepped right over on that end of the table. In a few moments, whatever she touched right down there on the floor, all of a sudden something began coming right straight down in front of me. But this time, I saw the thing coming down, but I don't know what it is. And it kept right on coming. It was a piece of wood, just like my hand's laying on here, on the table. And that come right straight on down and right on my hand and wrist. And you know, the Mother Superior kept right on screwing that vice over there. This is a vice. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. I knew it afterwards. All right, she kept right on screwing the vice. And after a while, you know, I happen to be a human being. I happen to have as much feeling as you do. And the pain was so terrific you can't take it. The next thing I know, I went out like a light, and I fell to the floor, but I'm hanging by that hand, and it will not release me. And you know, she had to release that hand, but she hurt my hand bad enough that it was crippled for quite a while. Oh, listen, I suffered 1,000 deaths. She said, I stole a piece of bread. Oh, thank God I don't have to get my food like that now. I have a great big God, and He owns the cattle on 1,000 fields. And I want you to know I don't have to beg for food. The Lord supplies my need. Praise His wonderful name. I am a child of God. I'm an heir to the lovely, to Jesus Christ. Oh, it means much to me. All right, now what do you think's going on in the heart and mind of a little nun when she's going through things like this? It didn't put any love in my heart, I'll tell you that right now. It began to bring bitterness in our heart, and then because those kind of penances were terrible, and it hurt us for quite a while, and so bitterness got a hold of me, and it began to grow. You know, it's something that grows like a cancer. First you don't know you have it. All of a sudden you wake up and discover you have a cancer. You may have had it for 6 months and don't know a thing about it. Well, bitterness can creep in your heart like that, and hatred begins to creep in, and it went on and on and on, and the penances were so heavy. Oh, some of them were so heavy, and the pain was so terrific. And I tell you, when you go to bed night after night and night after night, and you lay there on that slab of wood, and you feel like your stomach is bumping against your backbone, and you feel like your mind is going to snap because you're too hungry, and there's no place to get any food, there's nowhere to go, you just lay there and suffer it out. I tell you right now, it's not funny one bit. And then when I think how your priests eat the best food in the country, how they drink the best liquor, I told you last night, and they have the best cigars there is in the country. Oh, they have the best of everything. But they're the ones that influenced we little girls and gave us a vocation. And we went into convents, finally on into the cloister. But they're having the best of everything. And we're back there hungry. More than hungry, besides all of the heavy penances and all that's going on in there. Well, these are terrible things. All right. After I'd been in the convent 22 long years. 22 long years, the best part of my life was gone, wasted. 22 long years, that's the best part of my life. It's wasted, it's gone. Let me tell you, folk, for 10 years of that time, I premeditated murder. I knew in my heart one day, if the opportunity ever comes, I'm going to kill the Mother Superior. I saw 3 die in the convent. Normal deaths, natural deaths, of course. I saw 3 of them die in my period of time. And this one was very sick, but I didn't know she was quite that bad. But I have been premeditating murder. Just stop for a moment. I told you the first night I was here, and Mom and Dad took me to a convent boarding school. I like 3 months being 13 years of age. I never slept away from my mother and father one night in my life. I've never been out in the world. All right, now I've taken my white veil here in the United States, my perpetual vows here in the United States, and now they've taken me abroad into a foreign country and put me 1 story under the ground in the Cloistered convent, and I was in there a matter of years, and then I learned to hate, and my heart just continued to build hate and bitterness. Oh, listen, folks, I didn't go to the convent for that. I went in there to pray for lost humanity. That's what I went for. But here I am being filled with hate and bitterness, and on and on and on. So I began to premeditate murder. One day, I was away back there under the ground working, and you know, 2 little nuns were sent for me. And when they come to me, they said, the Mother Superior is very ill, and I was to come to the Mother Superior's office, and it always put a lot of fear in you when you had to come to her office. But I came, and when I walked into the Mother Superior's bedroom, sitting room, we call it, an outside Roman Catholic doctor had been brought in. She was very sick. And this doctor was the one who gave me my orders. I'm an RN. All right, I told you about getting my nurse's training last night. All right, there are other RNs there, but this is God's time. God has already said it's enough. God's making a way right now for me to go out of the convent, but I didn't know God and I didn't know this. But now I can look back and see how it all happened. All right, so the doctor told me. He said, now I've given her some medicine. And he laid the medicine out here and he told me all about it. And he laid 5 tablets down right there. And they were rather large. And he said, now don't give her one of those tablets unless you absolutely have to give it to her. I know what the tablets are. They're very, very powerful. And I know better than give her. All right, this was the middle of the forenoon. I took care of the Mother Superior religiously all day long. The evening time comes, and time for bed. 9:30, the lights are out, all the little nuns are locked in their cells. See, I thought, what I'm going to do, I'll wait till the nuns are locked in their cell that night, and then I'm going to kill the Mother Superior. Well, you know, I just didn't have enough bravery to do it. I was so scared, you don't know the half of it, the fear that got a hold of me. And I thought I don't have enough time. All right, I told you, 7 minutes of midnight. All those little nuns have to get up in full dress. The doors are unlocked. They go out in the inner chapel and pray 1 hour. I thought I'll wait until they come back to their cells, and I have more time. I did that. Now they're brought back to the cells. But you know, I'm frightened. I'm more than frightened. And this is what I did. I thought this will be easier on the Mother Superior and this will be easier on me and won't be half so hard. All right, what did I do? I took all 5 of those large tablets. I put them in a half a glass of water. I dissolved them. I gave them to the Mother Superior. I stood right there and held that woman's pulse and watched it. And folk, it just slipped away. She just didn't have any pulse. And that funny color that come on her face, well, fear got a hold of me. I was paralyzed with fear because I realized if they find that woman dead the next morning, I'm going to a place that I'm going to tell you about in about 5 minutes. And I'll know all about this place. I lived there. Oh, I spent all those years there. All right. You know what I did? I run and got the stomach pump. I pumped that woman's stomach. And then I began to massage that woman with cold water, as cold as I could get. And I did everything that I know to do to bring that woman back to life. I didn't want her to die. I was too fearful for her to die because I knew what they might do to me. Oh, listen, folks. But you know, after I stayed with her long enough to realize that her respiration and her pulse were not normal, but somewhat normal, that I felt she was going to live, she wasn't going to die. All right, I'm going to do something else. Right over there is her desk, and I saw her key. There's a ring about that big around, and all her keys are on it. And so I got it. I'm going to another place in the convent I've never been in all the years I've lived in the convent. The reason for it is this. There's a massive, massive room, much larger than this. We are not allowed to use mops. We scrub on our hands and knees. Many, many times when always 6 of us scrub at the same time, when we're scrubbing that floor on our hands and knees, I've seen the Mother Superior walk through there and always remind us of that door over there. Remember, nobody ever goes through that door. Well, how in the world could we go through that door when the keys are on her key ring? We can't get through that door, but she always reminded us of it. Now I'm going to find out what's over there. And the reason, more reason than just what she said. Over on this part of the convent, I'm 2 stories under the ground, chained in a dungeon one time. I was chained down there. All right. I heard the screams coming from over here. And I'm locked in, and whoever's over there is locked in. And I tell you, it just curdles the blood in your veins. You're so frightened. All right. I'm going to find out what's on the other side of that door. If I have to live and die in here, you think I got those keys that I was trying to get out of that convent? I never one time thought to go to a door and unlock it. It never entered my mind. I tell you, I've been there so long, I've become a heathen. I never thought of getting out, but I'm going to find out what's on there. I went down there, and when I found the key that would unlock that door, I unlocked it. And I walked across the hall from about here over that far. Walked right across the hall. This is 2 stories under the ground. And when I walked across over there, there's 19 cells down there, 2 stories under the ground. Why did they build 19 cells down there, 2 stories under the ground? And you know, I walked over to the first cell. The cells are about this wide and maybe about this big a square. And when I walked there to a natural door, about the size of a natural door, and up near the top of the door there's a place about that long and about that wide, and there's little iron bars going across there. And I looked through those little bars, and I'm looking right into the face of a little nun whom I prayed in the chapel with hundreds of times. And that little nun has eat across the table for me. I know her, I've known her for years. There she is in that cell. And I called her by name and I said, how long you been here? She wouldn't talk. And then I said, how long's it been since you had any food? Because she didn't look like she'd ever had any food. All right, she wouldn't talk. You don't know, but I do. I learned after I've been in the convent several years. Every place under the ground, 35 miles of under tunnelage wired. And I don't care if you're 5 miles back there under the ground working, you just dare talk. and the Mother Superior will hear it, and then you're punished for it. You don't know those things. You have to find a lot of that out after you get in. And so that little nun knows all about it, and that's why she wouldn't talk. I went to the next one. I talked to her. She's alive. I talked to her. I talked to 3 or 4 or 5, whichever it might have been. They wouldn't speak to me at all. But I know them. I know them much better than I know anybody sitting in this building. All right. They had a log chain around either wrist. They have a log chain around their waistline like this. Now what are those cells? That's slow death in there. When you go in that cell, no more food, no more water. You're going to die slowly. And when you die, you'll slump in those chains. You don't go down to the floor. But oh, when I passed the 3 or 4 or 5, whichever it was, the stench began to make me very ill. And I said, I'm going to find out what's in all of them. I went clear on back to the very last one, the 19th cell. Those little nuns were already dead. They slumped in the chains. But the odor was something terrific. And I got out of there as quick as I could. Come back to the Mother Superior. Naturally, I checked her thorough. She's living. But I'll tell you, that woman didn't wake up until late the next afternoon. That's the longest sleep she ever had in her life, I can assure you. And the next afternoon, when she wakened up, she said to me, I've had a long sleep. I said, yes, Mother Superior. But nothing else was said. She don't know what's happened. You don't need to think I'm telling her. All right. It was rather tragic. But anyway, there I am. And I took care of her about 3 days. And then they transferred me to the kitchen. They put 6 of us out in the kitchen for a 6-week period at a time. All right, I'm going to the kitchen. The kitchen is on the first floor. And I explained a little bit about the kitchen. Just leading down right there. There's an outside door there. It's a heavy door, but it has double locks on it. And there's a landing right here. Then you go down a flight of stairs 1 story down. Actually, right here's where our garbage cans sit. All right, while I was working in the kitchen, I think about the 3rd or 4th day I was out there, all of us were standing with we have a work table back here. All of us were standing with our backs this way, but we were facing the wall because we were preparing the vegetables for the soup. And all of a sudden, somebody touched the garbage can. Now, that wouldn't bother you at all, but we don't break silence. We never make an unnecessary noise. It's like death there all the time. But somebody touched that garbage can. Automatically, 6 little nuns turned around. And we see a man taking the full can of garbage, but he had set an empty can down. Now, he had a perfect right to do it. Yes, he did. All right, he was a Roman Catholic man, but I have been in the convent 23 years. I've never seen anybody ever take the garbage out before. I didn't know how it went out. This is my first time. And you know, a thought went through my mind like this. Now, every time I have the opportunity to put the garbage in the garbage can, I'll put it in there. Why? Because I'm going to write a note if it's humanly possible. I'm going to try to get a note. Right over here on this end of the wall, over the work table, there is a chain, and on the end of that chain is a pencil. And you know, we that work in the kitchen, if we run out of anything, we have to write it on that tab of paper. The Mother Superior orders everything that comes in. But oh, you know what I did? In a few days, I tore a piece off of a dirty old sack, a paper sack, about this big, and I wadded up a little water and put it in my skirt pocket. And now every time we run out of anything, if it happened to be me, and I could get that pencil in my hand, but remember, there's 5 nuns in that kitchen, and you don't have any friends in a convent. They are not your friends. You do not trust them, and they don't trust you. All right, and I know that. I've lived there too long. All right, so I may get just 1 word on that little dirty piece of paper, and the next time I might get 2 or 3 words on it. But you have to be very, very careful. But you know, this went on. I'm watching that garbage can. I couldn't go down every time. They're just suspicious. But I went down. All right, when I saw the can was getting full the night before, I went down there, and I knew whoever put the garbage in the can the next night, then the man will be coming for it. Oh, listen, folk, I had 2.5 lines written on that piece of paper, and that took me nearly 3 weeks to get that on there. Oh, listen, folks, you know what I did? This night I went down, and I was hoping and hoping and hoping the next night I could be the one to go to the garbage can. And it worked out that I did. All right, I went down and I put the garbage in the garbage can. Now, all the little nuns, we all know this. When we finish the work in the kitchen, we all 6 walk out together. And when we go by the Mother Superior down there, she goes right down the sides of our skirts like that. Be sure we have no food in our pockets. She's very certain about that. Do you know what I did? I put the garbage in the garbage can, and it was full. I didn't put the lid on. I got this piece of paper out of my pocket, and I straightened it all out and laid it right on top of the garbage. This is what I said to the garbage man. I told him about the 19 cells down there, 2 stories under the ground. And I told him one more thing. And I said, if you will help us, please leave a note under that empty can. Won't you please help us to get out of here? Oh, listen, I didn't expect